Hello everyone, this is a quick introduction video to Module 3. Module 3 is a little bit more difficult. It's probably the most difficult module that we have encountered so far because you are working on your second essay, which is one of two major essays in the class. So if you remember in Module 2, we started brainstorming for your argumentation essay. In Module 3, we will be writing your argumentation essay. So what you want to do first off is make sure that you do go back and read comments on your pre-writing journal from Module 2, because without really knowing whether or not you're working on it correctly or whether or not you've chosen a good topic, you really don't have a place to start. So make sure that you are looking at those comments first and then proceeding with actually writing the essay. So I do want to talk you through some of the assignments. We are doing 4 assignments in this unit, and so I want to go through them really quickly just so you know what to anticipate. So as you can see, our main focus is the argument essay, but we're also talking about documentation. And for some students, particularly if you did not have very good instruction in high school or in Comp 1, because a lot of Comp 1 classes don't require documentation even as a topic. It's not one of the core outcomes. So a lot of times students haven't had that type of instruction. This will be a challenge for you. And so if you are confused, please make sure that you email me and I'll try to talk you through it. I can create more videos, that kind of thing. I don't want you to be lost. This is one of the most difficult things for students to get out of this class. So what you'll be doing is it's MLA documentation assignment. Make sure that you do the readings ahead of time. They are boring, but just at least glance over them, kind of read through them so that you have an idea of where things are, because then when you complete the assignment, you'll be able to go back in and look stuff up. So the assignment itself is to, this is completely separate from the essay. What you're going to do is pick 5 sources that are roughly about the topic of your essay. We're not too concerned about whether or not they match exactly or whether or not you will even use them in your essay, but it's just kind of a starting place for what we want to look for. So 5 sources. You could even go back and look at that discussion board that we did in the last module if you're looking for sources. It doesn't really matter. Of the 5, though, you're going to do the documentation assignment. The idea is that you, from the discussion board in the last module, and then this assignment, you will kind of narrow down the sources that you feel will work best for your argument essay. And so then you have those ready for you. Preferably these are internet sources because that's good to practice, but you can also use sources from the textbook. Textbook sources are a little bit easier to do because I already made the works cited entry for you in Module 1. So you know what the textbook works cited entry is supposed to look like, but this is a good way to practice and make sure that you're doing it correctly. So what you'll do is you will have, with your 5 sources, you'll do the works cited entry, and then you'll pick one piece of information. So a sentence would be good, and either incorporate it into a sentence with a quote or with a paraphrase. So you're going to do quotes and paraphrases, and you want to make sure that they are using those parenthetical references, so the ones in parentheses in text citations, and then those signal phrases at the beginning of the sentence. So you can choose kind of what you want to do. You only have to do 1 sentence of content from each source, but you do need to, within those 5, have at least 2 quotes and 2 paraphrases. So you have 5 sources, and maybe you do quotes from the first 2 and paraphrases from the last 3 or something like that. 5 points, obviously, per entry. So you're graded based on whether or not you did it correctly. So it's just a way to practice and make sure that you're doing it correctly before you get to the essay. If you submit that early, I try to provide comments for assignments like that before the modules due, or you can always email me and say, hey, I submitted this, can you look over it? Am I doing anything wrong? That kind of thing. The next thing you'll do is the Module 3 quiz, which goes over the documentation readings as well as thesis statement readings. So you're tested over thesis statements as well as documentation. So like I said, this is a heavy module. We've got a lot of stuff in it. Then there's the argument essay. Again, the criteria that you have seen before. You saw this in the last module. Same criteria. So just double checking, making sure that you're on point with what you're working on and that you know that you're doing it correctly. seriously. Always a good idea. I can't tell you how many students do this. They never look at the criteria, or they never go back to look at the criteria before they submit the essay, which is just silly because this lists for you exactly how to get a good grade on this essay. This is another video that I've made. I highly encourage you to watch it because it just goes through how to complete the assignment. There's some examples. All of these are topics that are purpose of college, not quite the same as what most of you are working on, but it just gives you an example of what an argument looks like. And then this is the submission place for the essay itself and the rubric, which you can look at if you want to. I'm trying to get the rubrics in here before you turn the essays in, but like I said, Canvas is new to me, so I haven't quite gotten everything in here. I always forget something. So that's the module. Like I said, we're lots of stuff in this unit. I definitely want to make sure that if you have questions that you send them to me right away and you get started on this module right away. This is not one that you can wait until, the Saturday or Sunday that it's due and be able to be successful. So we are getting into the heavy part of the class. The next couple of modules will feel the same. A lot of work to do in a short span of time. So make sure that you are logging in earlier in the week. As usual, if you have any questions, make sure that you are emailing me or texting me. Otherwise, I hope you have a great week.